Because when I think of the goodness of Jesus and all he's done for me, my soul cries out. Can I get some hallelujah folk up in here? Come on and say hallelujah. Yeah. Come on and bless him all over the building. Come on, Patty K is good for the green game, but come on, give God a hand clap for praise. Come on, let's split the air with noise. Come on, let's raise it. Let's raise it up in here. This is for the King of Kings. This is for the Lord of Lords. This is for the Alpha and Omega. This is for the beginning and the end. This is for the captain of your salvation. This is for the all and 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 all. Yeah. Hey! That's when I say this is the kind of atmosphere where you can get your body healed. This is the kind of atmosphere where your burdens can get lifted. This is the kind of atmosphere when you praise him. When the praises go up, the blessings come. Somehow, send them on down, Lord. Send them on down. My God, my God, my God, my God. Oh, my Lord. We honor the presence of the Lord in this place. God is a good God. And guess what? If you don't want to praise him, that's between you and your God. But don't look at me strange, because I was created to give him praise. So we honor the presence of the Lord. Again, we thank God. Why, give the choir a hand for blessing us. Amen. We're not going to delay the time. Ask that you would please stand for just a moment as we share the word today. In the Gospel of John, chapter 15, John chapter 15, and verse 13, we can find these words. It simply says, "Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends." You may be seated. I want to talk today from the subject, the greatest love of all. Touch somebody and say, the greatest love of all. I find it interesting that many of our holidays were originally holy days. There is a difference. When it's simply a holiday, it is just a moment of recognition for something that was accomplished. But when it's a holy day, it is a time where we reverence and respect a holy God. Many of our holidays that we observe today were originally holy days. When we think about Christmas, there's a major attempt to take Christ out of Christmas. We have commercialized many of the days that were once reverenced to God. Even our Easter, there's more being advertised about the bunny than about the blessing. And so it really is left up to us who are believers, who know better, to keep pressing the issue that this is a day that should cause us to reverence and respect, most of all, the great I Am. I found it interesting as I did a little research on Valentine's Day, the history of Valentine. Where did it come from? There are several legends that exist. There is a secular one and there is a sacred one. Since I believe many of us, like myself, were not told and taught the sacred one, I want to take just a moment and share this sacred view of Valentine. There was a priest by the name of Valentine. In fact, there were several priests and leaders of the church, the Roman Church, Catholic Church. There were several of them that were connected, and all of them, the three that I mentioned were mentioned in the legend, three of them that were named Valentine, all of them were martyred. They were killed. One was in Africa, and with his companions, he was killed. But the one that really stands out to me was there was a priest who was in prison because he was supporting the persecuted Christians. Some of you may not realize it, but there has been a time, and there is a time, and there will be a time that you can get in trouble for standing up for Jesus. This priest by the name of Valentinus was instrumental in supporting those who had been arrested, those who had been beaten severely. He was also, I'm told by legend, he also was found guilty of marrying soldiers. Claudius II, who was a great warrior, a great soldier, outlawed young men from getting married because he noticed that it interfered with them being a good soldier. And so he outlawed it, and while that was going on, Valentine was the one who married them secretly, and the word got out. You know, words will get out. And because of it, he was in prison. And while he was in prison, he was interviewed and interrogated by Claudius II, who tried to convince him to give up his faith. He refused to give it up. He refused to take down. He refused to back away. He maintained his integrity with God. You know, it's easy to claim to be a Christian today. It's easy to say, I love the Lord. But back back then, in that situation, your life could be on the line. And while he was there, interesting thing happened in jail, in prison. He was used mighty of God. Do you not know that no matter where you are, God can use you? The jailer that was over him had a daughter by the name of Julia. And Julia's father, Asterius, who was the jailer, his daughter Julia was blind. And he prayed for her, and she received her sight. God, y'all didn't hear me. While he is locked up, while he is waiting to be executed, God used Valentine to heal a daughter, to cause a daughter that was blind. Now, I need to tell you, part of the legend was that after she received her sight, she started coming to see him while he was in jail. Oh, y'all ain't hearing me. Yeah, when God does something for you, you ought to do something for somebody else. And so as the legend goes, he is finally executed. He is executed. They beat him with clubs, and then they cut his head off, just because he tried to help other Christians, other believers. His head was cut off. But before he died, the legend tells us that he wrote a letter to Julia. And he signed the letter at the end, "Your Valentine." And from that time on, all over the world, in fact, it is estimated today that there are 150 million Valentine cards sent out all over the world. This man died, but he left a note saying, "Your Valentine." Y'all forgive me, but I still at times have issues with the saints. Why wouldn't he not just compromise? Why would he not have listened to the words of Claudius II, the emperor, and just play the game, just blend in? Why would he put his life in danger? Why would he allow some other folks' situation to become his situation? Why did he not ignore it and not get involved? Why? I mean, come on, Valentine. I mean, I'm glad you left a note, but Valentine, you could have lived longer. And yet, as I ask the question, I find myself with the answer. You know why he was willing to die? To give his life, to show his love? It's because of love. Valentine had been bitten with the love bug. I'm not talking about Julia, as some folk in the legend try to say that they fell in love. I don't know nothing about that. But I do know that he had a love that's the greatest love of all. And I say that because of this passage that I shared with you in our reading. No greater love does man have than this, that he would lay down his life for his friend. I want to say today, on this Valentine's Day. You may have a boo, you may have whoever you want to have. But the greatest love of all is found in this passage. He says, first of all, I say that it's the greatest love of all, first of all, because it's superior. Somebody holler say it's superior. In the Greek culture, they had more than one word for love. We lose some things in our language because we lump everything under love. Many of our songs, we sing it as if it's love, but it ain't nothing but lust. We let folk blow us off the map just telling you that they love you. And what does that mean when somebody tell you that they love you? I love you, I love you, I love you. And they know that that's all you want to hear is I love you, I love you. And they robbing you, and they stealing you, and they riding your car while you at work, and they picking up somebody else. Let me listen. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is Valentine's. It's superior. There are several Greek words, and I'm not trying to impress you, but I'm trying to show you how they broke it down. They understood that because somebody said it, it did not mean the same thing to everybody. Well, one of the words that they used in Greek was eros. Eros is where we get the word erotic. It is the sensual and the sexual. Let me just bracket like this. It's the fleshly kind of love. The fleshly kind of love is the demanding kind of love. Just it's about me. Just what you can do to me. Please me. I'm not concerned about you, but just me. Just take care of me. Just make me feel good. Just self-gratifying. That's eros. That's eros. And then there's the word stergo. S-T-E-R-G-O. That's family. That's family love. There's a different love that you should have for your family than you have for other folk. Yeah, there's a love for family. My brother and I, we could fight every day. In fact, we used to fight every day. And if he was getting the best of me, I said, we'll finish it tomorrow. That's how we used to fight. Now, we could fight each other, but you better not. You better not mess with it. Anybody got a family like that? That if we can fight each other, but don't mess with my family. Yeah, that's stergo. There ought to be a kind of a family relationship that even though you don't always get along, you family. And blood is thicker than water. We're losing that. We're losing that family. We're losing that stergo. We're losing that closeness. We're losing, maybe because we got bigger houses and we got all this stuff that we didn't have. When we didn't have much, when you didn't have all the bedroom, when you couldn't move couldn't go to a hotel, you had to sleep on top of each other and sleep on the floor, and mama could put stuff together. And it didn't matter how much you had, she could make a whole lot out for the family. Maybe when we didn't have much, we had closeness. But now we're so grand and so great and so gorgeous that we let folk talk about our family and we don't even say nothing. Do you not know when somebody talk about your husband, they talk about you too? If they say he crazy, that means you crazy too. But then that's Sturgo. Then there's phileo. Phileo, where we get the word Philadelphia, philanthropic, philosophy, the love of wisdom. Phileo is the friendship. It's the brotherly kind of love. It's friendship. It's boyfriend, girlfriend. That's where it should be. Boyfriend. Boy and a girl looking at each other, blinking and winking. Yeah, that's phileo. And that's another level of love. But the greatest, it's good to have family. It's good to have friendship. And you got fleshly. Don't try to act like you ain't got no flesh, because you're still in your flesh. That's what you're in. See, the flesh can never be satisfied. Have you noticed that? Can never. I ate that box of candy, and I'm gonna eat another box. I tell you right now. Sister Mac, if you don't hide it, I got another box. I'm gonna eat up. That's where the flesh can never be satisfied. I know it ain't no good for me, but when I get one of them in there, you just can't bite one. That's where the flesh is. But the greatest is the Father's love. It's called agapeo or agape. It's divine. That's the greatest love of all. That's the kind of love that you want. The kind of love that is not focusing on receiving, it's focusing on giving. It's the kind of love that gives and don't leave price tags on it. It's the kind of love that says, in spite of, in spite of. I know you mistreated me. I know you did me wrong. I know you did something behind my back. But in spite of that, I still love you. That's the kind of love you want. And the only way you can get that love, you got to get it from God. You can't get it from a car. You can't get it from a box of candy. You can't get it from a dozen of roses. In fact, in Europe, in France, and in England, during Valentine's Day, they give a key because they said that I'm unlocking your heart, and that's bad. Yes, sir. Brothers, go get a key today. Yeah, it's I'm unlocking your heart, but you can't get it in a key. To have this love, you got to have God, because it is the very nature of God. God is love, and in spite of us. It's nice having somebody loving you because, but see, because can change. If somebody loves you because you are built like a Coke bottle, what's going to happen when the Coke bottle become what kind of leader? Somebody said a freely. Yeah. What's going to happen when he's not all buffed up? When his muscles have turned to flat? when his waist, well, we're going to leave the waist around. What's going to happen when time sets in? What's going to happen if they got money now, but what happens when the money runs out? You better all having somebody that will love you in spite of. Because things will happen. Changes will take place. And you got to have somebody that can roll with you no matter what you're going through. And so it's first of all, touch somebody and say, it's superior. That's why it's the greatest. The love of God is greater. And that's why he says it in the 15th chapter. He says, no greater love. No greater love. Not only is it superior, that there are two more things I want to say about it, but the second thing I want to say about it, it is selfless. It is selfless. You know, there's so many selfish people in the world today. It's about me, myself, and I. But the love of God is selfless. It does not focus on oneself. It focuses on the needs of others and what's best. That's the key word. The key word is the love you have that is of God is concerned about doing what's best. That's one of the better definitions you can get. The love of God is doing what's best. Sometimes what's best is saying no. What's best does not mean everything your child wants. Sometimes you gotta say no, because no is best. What it look like? Your 3-year-old say, I want to drive the car. But go on, because I love you, go on and drive the car. And they run all into folks' yard, knock people's boxes over. And you got to go to court. And they say, well, why don't you let the child, well, you know, I love her so, I love Shamika so much. I just got to love her. I just love her. The devil is a liar. Love does what's best. And sometimes what's best is no. Because if you love somebody, if you really care about somebody, you want them to make it the right way. And so love is not only superior, the greatest love is not only superior, it is selfless. Selfless. It's less of self. It's less of me. My pleasure is not in just what you can do for me, but what I can do for you. He says, no greater love hath a man than this,